Hey everyone, Katie here with your Thursday training. This week I want to talk about how to overcome the resistance through your own self-leadership. I don't know if that just cut out or not, so maybe I'll introduce myself again. Hello! God, every time I go live through just Facebook and not StreamYard, it is a funky experience. Coach Katie here, wanting to talk to you today about how to really overcome the resistance you're feeling to do certain things in your business. And we're going to use the power of your own self-leadership for this. The greatest thing is that you have the power to say yes or no to anything you want. But the most important thing is that you have to decide right here and right now, are you going to do it or not? And if you're not, what will you replace it with? All right, so let's dive in a little bit to resistance and how that might show up in the form of most likely fear. I remember learning this concept around how we create a kind of safe problem when we're feeling fear on the inside. Hi, Chris. Oh, hello from Belgium. How awesome. Glad you're here. When we're feeling on the inside like this apprehension, for example, to go live, right? To go live on Facebook or whatever platform, all of us have had to do it for the first time, right? If you're going live already, there was a point in time where it was your first time. Making a reel on Instagram, there's a point in time where it was your first time. And if we look back at our first time of doing anything, we were probably pretty horrible at it, right? My first Facebook Live, I think I had a script that was up like kind of near my camera on a Google Doc. And I was pretending not to read, but I was reading. And I can clearly see that I was reading when I watched that first Facebook Live, which thankfully is buried in an old Facebook group. But the point is, at some point, my self-leadership made the decision for me to overcome the resistance that I had to going live, as an example. And my self-leadership took over and made the decision that said, today is the day. Because I knew that it was something that had to happen in my business if I wanted to market it on this platform called Facebook. Now, I'm not saying you have to market your business on Facebook. That's up to you. But you have to market your business. If you plan on being an online entrepreneur, then you're going to market online. If you're resisting all marketing, if you're going to tell me that you're not good on video, you're not a good writer, you don't know how to write content, you don't like writing emails, you don't want to create content, then you're skipping marketing. How do you think that's going to fare for your business? So a lot of people get business from referrals, but sometimes that's a very slow process. And so if you're skipping marketing altogether, I would take a look at your business plan and say, how are you going to generate leads? That's where we get to that juxtaposition of to do or not to do. When we feel fear about something, a lot of us will make up a story in our head that says, if it doesn't feel good in my body, it's not good. And that's not true. So let's think of it this way. You're crossing a busy street in New York City and there's a big bus coming and you didn't notice it. You stepped your foot off the curb and then all of a sudden, you're getting beeped at and you jump back on the curb and you're scared to death. Your heart is beating out of your chest. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just almost did that, right? Maybe you were distracted looking at your phone or something. And you're so scared and now your body's feeling it, right? But your self-leadership as a human doesn't allow the body to dictate, I will never do that again. Not I will never step in front of a bus again, of course, right? I'm going to do it again, it being cross the street. But next time, I'm going to do it with more preparation. I'm going to make sure I have my wits about me. I'm going to look both ways. You get the drill. So the same is true for business. If you're resisting all marketing in general, if you're telling yourself these stories, I'm not good on video, I'm not a good writer, and so you're not willing to market your business, you kind of have to go back to the business plan and say, is that going to work? Is my self-leadership, like what I know to be true about life and business, is it going to work if I downright refuse to market my business? And if the answer is no, that's not going to work. I don't know how I would get any clients in the door if I don't market. then the self-leadership takes over and says, okay, then now I have to get over my resistance, right? Get to the root of what I'm afraid of and move through it and beyond it. Because what is likely on the other side of your resistance is exhilaration once you do it. And once you start getting good at doing the thing, you actually start to enjoy it. And you'll look back on that former self and be like, man, I wish I didn't wait so long. So I'll share a little bit, of my own resistance, because I'm certainly not perfect at this. I have no problem going live. That wasn't true all the time, but I got over that. And I can go live without a script and talk to you as if you're sitting right here in front of me, right? But it wasn't always that way. The thing I'm resisting is Instagram. And I attended a masterclass today with a mastermind group that I'm in on how to understand Instagram and use it better. And, I think I have like 24 posts like total. I just don't use it. And Facebook is really my platform. But I'm getting a little tired of certain things about Facebook, and I'm not being seen. I'll put a lot of heart and soul into some of these and I can see my metrics. I'm simply not being shown by Facebook to my audience. And I'm understanding when I go back to my business plan, is it okay that the marketing I'm doing is being seen by an eensy teensy amount of audience that I have? No. And so the self-leadership takes over and says, then you got to do something new. So what's the new thing? So when I was watching the training, and of course they bring up Reels. And I have just downright refused to make a video where I'm pointing in multiple directions and pointing to text, that I'm going to add later. It just doesn't vibe with me. I've seen some really funny reels of other people doing it, and I think I see them having fun. And there's this place in me that says, Katie, when you get over your kind of BS around not wanting to do reels, you may end up finding out that it'll bring out this goofy side of you that you don't really get to bring out in this kind of static form of, of course, video is different, but, than just posts with text. And I do have a goofy side, and, the only one who really gets to see it is my partner. And so the self-leadership in me comes up and says, what if it might be fun? And what if because you're having fun, you're going to do it more often and you're going to get more followers and people are going to be able to see what you're all about because you've chosen to step it up and do something that you have resisted this whole time. So I just want to share that with you because I'm on the same journey as you, and there are certain things that I do well that maybe you don't do well, and I bet there are things you do well that I don't do well. And I just wanted to bring up that word resistance because I think that, we have these rules like I'm not going to post on social media. I'm not going to share anything about my family. I'm very private. Okay, no problem. Right? Some people do say that you should share your personal life. I'm not one of those people. I think it's nice for people to see that you're a real human being with a life beyond your office. But again, I don't think that's necessary. So if that's your rule, that's okay. But does that mean that you'll never do social media? Does it mean that you'll never learn how to do anything, that you just downright refuse, or that you want to hire someone to put out the content and be responsible for your metrics when in fact it's really your business? And what I was learning today was, as much as we want to bring in a VA to do this kind of stuff, actually, if I follow this 20 minutes a day method from this person that taught me this morning, it's actually my job. I have to do it. I'm the one that needs to engage. If I'm using hashtags, I need to engage with people that are using those hashtags. And if people comment, I need to comment back. And when someone's acting on my behalf, it feels really weird. And people will say, oh yeah, Katie, I've chatted with you on Instagram. And I'm like, really? Right? Because maybe somebody else was acting on my behalf. And so that doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. It's not that it can't work for you, but it just doesn't work for me. So I'm clear because of my self-leadership that says, this is my goal. This is my goal in business. This is where I want to get to. And I'm constantly asking myself, are the tasks I'm doing right now going to get me to my goal? Right? Sometimes we've got busy tasks that are annoying but have to get done. For me, that's bookkeeping. I just don't like it. I have a bookkeeper, but I have to make notes for the bookkeeper. And it's just something that I find annoying, but I must do it. So, okay, I got to get that done. And it's funny, I sit down and do it. It takes like 10 minutes. But there are other things that I'm doing that I'm like, I don't need to be doing this. Someone else can be doing this because I need to be writing content, presenting, being a guest speaker, showing up for my clients, consulting for my clients, and no one can do that but me, right? And so all of these things are your self-leadership to determine where you're stuck, what you're refusing to do. Maybe it's because you say you don't have time. Maybe it's because you say you don't know how. Maybe it's because you say you don't want to. Maybe it's because you say it doesn't align with your values. It doesn't feel good in your body. Your spirit animal told you not to, right? Like we have all of these reasons why we're not doing things. But when the self-leadership kicks in and says, here's your goal. Are you going to get there if you don't do this thing? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then you can finally and wholly determine that is not my strategy and I am not doing it. I'm going to put it over there. I'm taking it out of the resistance pile and I'm putting it in the no bucket. I am not doing that. And I honor you to be able to make that decision, because all resistance is like loose ends that you haven't determined if you're going to do it or when you're going to do it. And so it's just all milling about like clutter. And the minute you determine, yes, I need to do it, or no, I don't need to do it, we get to move out of resistance and into action. Either the action is no thank you, or the action is I need to learn this. I need to overcome my fear of this. I need to hire someone for accountability for this. I need to ask for help for this. Whatever that is, you need to set yourself an action step that determines how you're going to move that forward, because you've made the determination that it went into the yes bucket. Once it's in the yes bucket, you don't get to resist it anymore. Now you have to solve the problem, right? Sometimes solving problems costs money. But at the end of the day, because we've asked the question, is this thing going to help me get to my vision? Do I need it to get to my vision? The vision is almost always related to impact and income, right? And so when we make that determination of, yes, this is what I need to do, and that yes may cost you money right now in the form of support, maybe bringing on a team member, maybe learning how to do it, buying a coaching program, all these things, right? It's either going to cost you time or money or probably both. What you have to realize is it's going to come back to you because it's taking you to the vision. And so what you're doing is going to take you there, which over there has the income and impact you're looking for. And you're going to pay yourself back in spades for the effort that you put in to learning how to do something new or to overcome something that you think you're not good at, right? Because let's face it, we all suck at things that we don't do, right? Like I'm a snowboarder. I'm not a skier. If I put on 2 skis and tried to go down the mountain, I would fall practically instantaneously. In fact, when I cross-country ski, I look like I don't know what I'm doing. Right? If I'm going downhill in any way. It doesn't mean that I can't ski. It doesn't mean that I can't sign up for ski lessons and figure it out. It doesn't mean that I can't put myself on the mountain every single day until I figure it out. It's just the desire. Do I have that desire to ski? For me, not really. I love snowboarding. I'm good with that, right? So it's not that you're not good at something and that you can never be good at something. It's that you're currently not trying. You haven't put your energy into it. And the minute you determine, yes, this is important, I need to do this to move forward in my vision, then it becomes necessary to put in the time and energy and attention into getting better at it, right? Into really learning it. And so that is true for so many clients I worked with that resisted sales. You know, I hate sales, Katie. I don't want to do sales. I just want to hire a sales team. Well, do you have money to hire a sales team? Some sales teams work on commission only, but most of the time people would like to get paid for their time. And maybe you haven't rolled into commission into your pricing. And so now you're like, oh no, now, I'm selling this $5,000 program, but I'm only going to see 3,000 of it, for example, right? So you have to learn sales, or you have to learn marketing. You have to learn email marketing. You have to learn maybe a launch strategy. Now you may determine, no, launching is not for me. It's in the no bucket. Great. What is your other sales mechanism? Do you have a sales mechanism? If not, then we got to put launching back on the table and say, what is the resistance around launching? And can we overcome it? Can you learn? Right? Can we figure out what that resistance is and overcome those obstacles instead of putting it in the no bucket? If you've put launching in the no bucket because you have another sales mechanism, great. Focus on that sales mechanism. Right? But that is truly where the self-leadership takes over your resistance. And it determines for you whether or not you have to get over it and get on with it, right? Or say no and put it in the no bucket. But the resistance, I want you to see it as a bunch of clutter that if you don't clear, you will not move forward in your business. And everything is at the center of you and your way of being and how you're showing up and what you're thinking and saying to yourself, right? And so when we take ourselves through that practice of, when I'm in my self-leadership position and I get really real with myself, where's the resistance? Where's it coming from? Why is it there? And can I move beyond it because I need to? Or can I say no to it and put it away? So that's my quick training for you today. Happy Thursday. I hope you all are having an amazing day, and I will see you here next week. Let me know what you think. I'm so curious if this helps you overcome any of your resistance. And what action step can you take, like starting right now? Even if it's making a list of all the things that you're resisting right now and seeing if you can just determine, does it go in the yes bucket or the no bucket? All right, so let me know what happens. Send me a DM or comment below, and I will see you later. All right, have a good day.